Welcome back to this week's video. On this week's video, I'm not going out today. I am just doing a few housekeeping jobs. Because I use the boat all year round and keep it outdoors, it does tend to need a little bit of regular sort of maintenance and a few little jobs. A couple of the jobs I want to do today, you've seen in previous videos, I have this electric winch, which is battery powered. So that will probably launch and recover the boat maybe 3, 4, 5 times. So the last day I noticed it was a little bit, the battery sounded a little bit low. So I'm going to put that battery on charge today. I noticed that I had a problem with the bilge pump when I was out at sea the last time. I noticed a little bit of water in the bilge. Just noticed the last day we were out, because we were taking a little bit of water over the top because it was a rough day when we did the Lusitania video. I noticed that my bilge pump was coming on, but there was nothing coming out of the outlets. Now you can see the outlets here behind me. So what I'm going to do, I want to try and clean those two, or one bilge pump, and make sure it's working. And again, because I go offshore with the boat, I do like to keep a regular check on the water in the oil water separator, or oil fuel separator, apologies, inside the engine room, or in the bilge. And so today I want to just drain off some of the fuel, and just to make sure that there is no water in the system and make sure that it is clean. One of the other problems I'm having, and I have been having for a while, and I have documented on the video, I have this little oil leak, a little bit of an oil sheen that comes in the water behind the engine. Now, it was very bad before. I changed some O-rings and I used spurious O-rings, but then I was still having a problem, so I bought the genuine ones. But I still noticing a small little bit of oil sheen in the water every now and again. Not all the time, but every now and again. So today I want to just take a look at those O-rings and perhaps try and seal them a little bit better. Now, I have filmed all of that before, so I probably won't film all of it today. So I'll show you probably a before and after shot, and maybe what I'm trying to do to cure the problem. So join along with me today, and hopefully you'll enjoy the video this week. I know I'm not offshore, and I do apologize, but I do need to get these few odd jobs done on the boat to make sure that I can use the boat safely and reliably. Okay, one of the jobs I want to do today, I want to recharge the battery that runs my winch. I fitted this winch in order to help me to get the boat on and off the trailer with a remote control, so it's easier for me on my own. I can stand next to the boat and I can hold the boat as I'm winding it in. I did do a video on this, so have a look back on my channel. You'll see a video of me showing the operation of this on the slipway. So anyway, I have a battery in this box here that obviously supplies the power for the battery, or for the winch. Now, I can launch and recover the boat maybe a half a dozen times, and then I notice the battery starts to go low. So what I'm going to do today, I am just going to put the battery on charge and leave it charge overnight. I have a small little trickle charger, and it'll probably take the rest of the day, perhaps until tomorrow morning, for it to be fully charged. So I'll charge I'll connect the positive up first and the negative, and the battery is actually showing 13 volts, so it's not quite low. And I've put it onto the car charge. It's showing that it's half charged. So what I'll do, I'll just keep it on charge for the rest of the day, and that'll bring it back up to full again. I like to do that because I don't want to be stuck, obviously, with the boat on the slipway, trying to recover it with a flat battery. Obviously, that would be a pain in the bum. So I'll leave that on charge now, and let that be the first of my simple jobs I need to do today. And I'm going to move on to the bilge pump next. I want to check the bilge, check the pump, just to check to see what's blocking it, because the last day I noticed that, as I was saying, that the pump was on, but there was no water coming out. Okay, so let's move on to that. Okay, as you can see here, my bilge is a little bit dirty and it's holding the water, and this is the bilge pump here. If I pull it out, this shows the importance of having a clean bilge. and I'm guilty of it. I keep my boat and there's some trees next to it, and the leaves and things from the trees, they fall off the trees and cause this little bit of a blockage. What I'm going to do, I'm going to actually take this pipe off in a minute, and then I'm going to blow some compressed air through here, and I'm going to clean up the pump with compressed air here as well, and empty the bilge. And once the bilge is empty, I'm doing a video of me spring cleaning the boat, because really it needs to be done. So I won't be cleaning the bilge today, but I will be emptying the water. And once I get the bilge emptied and the pump back in again, it should all be running fine. But I will be doing an upcoming video on giving the boat a valet and a spring clean. Okay, let me just undo this pipe here, the clip. And hopefully this pipe will come off easily. Hopefully the pipe will come off easily. There we go. So I have some compressed air here. Oh, sorry. Touch the camera. Apologies for the noise, you can hear the compressor in the background. Anyway, so let me put this back on. I hope the noise of the compressor is not too loud. Okay, so let me just turn on the pump. So you can hear the pump running. Now again, apologies for the dirty bilge. That will all be cleaned in an upcoming video. And there is the water coming out. So I will leave that pump away. Okay, now I know it's probably difficult to see me because the way the camera is focused. But down here you can see a dirty bilge, which I've already said the boat is due a clean this year. And I have this fuel water separator here. And what I want to actually do, I want to try and trap, if I can, some of I want to see is there any water in here after the season. Okay, so there's some. You can't see it on the camera now, but I have fuel pouring from the filter here. So I'm just draining it off because if there is any water in the fuel, it would show in the bottom of the bowl. Now I can't see any, but just to be on the safe side, I want to just draw off a little bit of fuel. Okay, that's the drain closed off. Now, I will just try and show you. Apologies for the camera work, it's very difficult to film this. So I will. If you can see here, I can get it to focus. If you could see in the very right hand corner, there is some water. Oh, sorry, some water. See the water there in the very corner? Because these days, when you have fuel and you fuel up, it you do tend to get this little bit of water every now and again. So that's why I wanted to drain it off before that builds up, because if you don't, that will eventually build up and then it will end up in your engine, and then you will be opening yourself up for a whole world of pain. Okay, so I'm glad I've emptied that now, and we can move on. I have a problem with my starboard navigation light, which I want to have a look at now as well. I didn't mention it earlier, but the bulb is periodically coming on and going off, and I want to. It's obviously a poor connection, so I do want to have a look at that. These are my navigation lights, here and here, obviously, as you can see, and they both work. But I've noticed that my green, this one here I'm about to take off, I've noticed that it has been, you know, sometimes working, sometimes not. So as I've said already, it's obviously a poor connection somewhere. So what I want to do is just take out the bulb. The lights are off at the moment, but when I take off the cover here, I'm going to switch on the lights and I'm going to check the bulb to see exactly what's going on. Okay, so here you can see the bulb here. So let me just go back and switch the lights on, and you'll get some idea. Hopefully we'll be able to see. Okay, so that's the lights on. As you can see, the bulb has come on, but it's definitely been, oh yeah, you see, it's gone off now, and it's come on, it's gone off, and it's come on. So obviously there's a poor connection. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch the lights off again. I'm going to clean up that connection, and we'll check it afterwards. And the navigation lights, because I do often arrive home in the evening, I'm going to just clean the edge of the bulbs. Now these bulbs are new, so I'm guessing it's actually more the light fitting than the bulb. But as I was saying, I do come home in the evening sometimes, and it does start getting dark. Even though the evenings are getting brighter, sometimes I do arrive home when it is getting dark. So it is important to have your navigation lights working properly. So I'm just going to give these a little sand. Perfect. And okay, let me just turn on the lights again. Yeah, there we have the light working. Oh, still have a poor connection. So let me just try that again. Let me just have another go. There we go. Okay. I will just put the cover back on top. I'm guessing these, the boat is 2008. I'm guessing these lights are original to the boat, so they're doing very well for, what is that, 28, 18 years old. Yeah, still working. So again, as I was saying earlier on, there are these little jobs, they do mount up. And because I use my boat very often, you know, little jobs do tend to you know, you ignore one job and then you ignore another job, and before you know it, then you have a list of jobs to get done. Now today, finally, what I want to do is tackle that engine oil leak. Now again, I will film a small bit of it. I won't, because I already have covered that problem on the channel. But I do, it's like a little oil sheen I'm getting. Great, the lights are working. It is a little oil sheen I'm getting, and I do want to try and sort that problem out. So what I'm going to do is strip off where the O-ring is that I think is causing the problem. And once the O-ring is off, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I have a little plan to use a small little bit of RTV. Okay, we'll move on to that. Okay, this is the big lump. What I'm finding after I've been out for a day's cruising, I have a little bit of oil runs down here, down in the lower leg, and the last time I looked at it, it was because I put in a low pressure fuel pump, and the O-ring that I used on it initially was a spurious O-ring, but I went away and got the genuine O-ring from Honda at the cost of something like $35 for one little O-ring, put it in. Now it did cure it to an extent, but I still find that I'm getting a you know, like a sheen from the in the water in behind the engine in here in the water, if you can imagine it. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to film the whole thing, but I will just give you a quick rundown in case you haven't seen the last video. But I have documented this job already on the channel. So let me just get the camera here, I'll show you. Okay, in behind this is actually the fuel pump here, the low pressure fuel pump. Now there's a bolt here holding it in, and there's one underneath, and inside, in between this and the engine, there's an O-ring. Now I do seem to be getting an oil leak from behind that, and I thought the genuine Honda O-ring would cure the problem, but it hasn't. It has to a degree. Anyway, so today I want to rip off this manifold here, this air intake manifold, and expose this, and then once I have all of this off and the pump coming off, I'll come back to the filming and then I'll explain what I'm going to do. This is the low pressure fuel pump. Now in between, in the joint there's an O-ring that I've replaced. Now I've stripped everything off, and I know it might not be hard to see or easy to see, but I actually cannot see any evidence of any oil leaking from there. Now I've sprayed all of this with, you know, like a lubricant in the past, and honestly I cannot see anything. I've also tried pumping the fuel bulb to see can I get anything. It's really difficult to see, but the VST is here, to see can I get, is there any fuel leak that's causing little sheen that's coming at the back of the engine. But anyway, look, what I'm going to do, I've loosened these nuts off. I'm going to take the pump out. You'll see the O-ring exactly the same time as I will. and we'll see, is there any evidence? The last time this happened, I could see evidence of oil having leaked out or leaking out. But honestly, this time I don't see a thing. So I'll take out one nut. Let's check. Is there a washer here? Yeah. Don't want to lose the washer. Okay, so this is the top. Oh, sorry, the camera work. This is the top nut. Now, yeah, you see, I have oil here again. You see this oil here? And I don't know if this O-ring here, this O-ring is a genuine Honda part. That was very expensive. I did have a spurious one, which was, I don't know, €1 in my neck of the woods. But I don't know, is the seating surface here? I cannot feel anything. I can't feel any little nicks or anything, but clearly I have oil. You can see the oil is here. And this is a brand new pump, brand new O-ring. So there should be, when you put this in and tighten it down, this should seal, but it's not. What I'm going to do is I am going to put a very thin film of RTV around the mating surface here, and hopefully that will solve the issue. So I'll get the RTV and then I'll get back on filming. Okay, as you can appreciate, this is very hard to film. I'm on my own. You can see this is the port for the low pressure fuel pump, and I'm going to put some RTV sealer around the edge of here. Now I'm only going to put a thin film, and before anybody says you're not meant to do that, I have tried genuine O-rings, I've tried spurious O-rings, and I cannot get the oil leak to stop. So this is the product I'm using here. It's called Durco HT. In my neck of the woods, I'm not sure what they were in your neck of the woods, but it's an RTV sealant. So I'm literally going to put a small little bit on my finger. Small, if you can see this. Not sure if you can see, just a small little piece. And on the inside of the mating surface, now I've just cleaned that off camera with some acetone, so it's perfectly clean. So I'm putting a thin film of this RTV gasket sealer. Now again, apologies for the camera footage. If you can't see it properly, I do apologize. What I'm going to do in a minute, once I put this RTV gasket, I'm going to clean. There we go. Okay, so that's all the way around. I want to clean inside here because I don't want any of this to go in to the oil galleries or anything. Okay, so I now have RTV. There's like a chamfered edge you have the port coming out. There's a chamfered edge and then the face. So on the chamfered edge where the O-ring sits is where I've put the RTV. So this is the O-ring I have here. If you can see, this is the genuine O-ring, which is not on that long. So that goes onto the pump. And then the pump sits back in. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to button up the fuel pump here. And then I'm going to take a time lapse of me putting the engine back together again. Now I don't have the specific torque settings before anybody says anything to me. I think that in my experience will be good enough. Okay, so I have the pump back on again. I have to get this manifold back on and get the cover back on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to time lapse me reassembling the engine, the back of the engine, and we'll talk once the time lapse is finished. Okay, as you saw in the time lapse, I have everything back together again. The engine is back, so hopefully I get a chance to check out this oil leak in the coming days, or it might be next weekend. Anyway, so yeah, I'd just like to point out that I'm not a trained mechanic. I'm just a guy who's handy with his hands and tools. Well, that's it for this week, everybody. Thanks very much for joining me. Hope you got this far. I know the video this week was a little bit different to the previous videos, but honestly, I had to get those few jobs done. So hopefully next week I'll be able to get out to the Lusitania wreck site. Failing that, it might be a couple of weeks' time because my videos are shot in real time. I am very much dependent on the weather. So see you next week, and hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.